The coffee shop at the corner of Crescent Avenue wasn't glamorous. Its chairs squeaked when someone shifted too much, its old floorboards carried the faint scent of spilled espresso that had seeped in over the years, and the windows fogged up whenever it rained. But it had something that made people keep coming back, a warmth that wasn't just from the coffee but from the barista who always seemed to know when someone needed an extra smile. Her name was Lila. Lila was not what most people would imagine when they thought of a barista. She wasn't just there to punch in orders, froth milk, and hand out lattes with scribbled names. She carried stories with her, 6 languages in her tongue, a curiosity about the world in her eyes, and an instinct to notice when a person's silence wasn't from patience but from struggle. She had grown up in a multicultural neighborhood, picking up phrases and eventually mastering French, Spanish, Italian, Mandarin, Arabic, and of course English. She didn't think it was extraordinary. To her, it was simply survival, a way to connect with neighbors, with the kids in school who had just moved from faraway places, and with the travelers who came through the city. That rainy Tuesday morning began like many others. The rain tapped against the glass, and Lila, with her hair pulled into a loose braid, set the first trays of croissants in their display case. The bell above the door jingled, and in walked a man who, to anyone else, might have appeared ordinary. His coat was simple, his shoes carried just a faint trace of polished leather, and his umbrella dripped quietly against the mat. He did not look like the type of man whose name commanded boardrooms or shifted stock markets. He looked, to Lila, like a customer who hadn't quite slept enough. He approached the counter, staring at the menu board with a troubled frown. Lila noticed his hesitation. When he finally spoke, it wasn't in English. It was in halting French, and though his accent was heavy, the frustration in his eyes was clear. He was trying to ask if the cafe had soy milk, but his words tangled. Without missing a beat, Lila answered back in French, her voice calm, fluid, and kind. "Yes, monsieur, we do. Would you like that in your coffee?" The man blinked, startled. The tension in his shoulders eased slightly. "You speak French?" Lila smiled. "A little, enough to help." Relief washed over his face. He nodded and placed his order in French, stumbling less now that someone understood. But as he reached for his wallet, another problem surfaced. The payment machine blinked red. His card wasn't going through. He muttered under his breath, this time not in French, but in Spanish. A stream of frustration about banks, cards, and traveling. And once again, Lila switched gears. "Senor, don't worry, sometimes the machine is slow. Would you like to try again?" she said in smooth Spanish. The man froze again. "You speak Spanish too?" Lila laughed softly. "I speak a little bit of many things. Life teaches you when you pay attention." Around them, the line of customers began to grow curious. But Lila kept her focus on the man. His face carried a weariness deeper than a language barrier or a faulty card. She tried again with the payment, this time gently guiding him through the steps. It still didn't work. His frustration rose again, and this time he muttered in Italian, almost as if arguing with himself. Lila switched without thinking. "Non si preoccupi, signore. We can find another way." The man stared at her as though she had revealed a magic trick. He chuckled for the first time, the lines on his forehead softening. "And you speak Italian too? What kind of cafe is this?" "This cafe," Lila said with a grin, "is one where people from anywhere can feel at home." She could tell his pride was struggling with the situation. So, she leaned closer and whispered in Mandarin, "Sometimes, technology does not listen. But people do." The man's eyes widened. He responded back in Mandarin, testing her. And when she answered flawlessly, he shook his head in disbelief. By now, the customers in line were exchanging looks, whispering. It wasn't every day one saw a barista switch between languages like turning pages of a book. Finally, Lila offered him the simplest solution. "If the card doesn't work, you can pay with cash later. Don't worry about it now. The important thing is you get your coffee." For the first time, the man truly smiled. A smile that wasn't just politeness but gratitude. He accepted the steaming cup she handed over and sat by the window. For a moment, Lila thought it was over. Just another morning, another guest helped. But then she noticed him still struggling, this time with his phone. A video call request blinked on his screen, and he muttered something under his breath in Arabic. Lila, wiping the counter, caught it. She paused, then carefully asked in Arabic, "Do you need help?" The man nearly dropped his phone. You understand Arabic too?" She nodded gently. Enough to listen. Something shifted in his expression then. He gestured for her to sit, and though her shift was busy, she felt compelled. She brought over 2 cups, his soy latte and her black coffee, and sat across from him. He explained, in fragments of multiple languages, that he was in town for an important meeting. A merger. Billions on the line. But his translator had been delayed, his phone's international SIM was malfunctioning, and he couldn't get his message across to the team waiting for him in different countries. He was a man surrounded by resources, yet stranded by language. Piece by piece, Lila helped. She translated the urgent email he dictated into Mandarin, softened its tone into French for another partner, adjusted a financial clarification into Italian, and even reassured a worried associate in Arabic. She did it all with patience, weaving each language like threads in a single cloth. By the time she finished, the man sat in stunned silence. "You have no idea what you've done," he whispered finally in English. "You may have just saved a deal that will ripple across the globe." Lila chuckled. "All I did was translate." "No," he said firmly. "You connected. There's a difference." Hours later, when the cafe slowed and the rain ceased, the man finally introduced himself. Not as an ordinary traveler, not as a businessman fumbling with cards, but as Adrian Cross, the global CEO of one of the most powerful corporations in the world. A billionaire whose name rarely appeared without headlines. Lila blinked, then laughed. "And I've been calling you, Monsieur, this whole time." He smiled. "It was perfect. Better than most people call me." Before he left, Adrian handed her a card, not a credit one, but his personal business card. "If you ever want to work somewhere your languages could change the world, call me."